fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo Silver, the Lone Ranger. With his faithful Indian companion, Tonto, the daring and resourceful masked rider of the plains led the fight for law and order in the early western United States. Nowhere in the pages of history can one find a greater champion of justice. Return with us now to those thrilling days of yesteryear. From out of the past come the thundering hoofbeats of the great horse Silver. The Lone Ranger rides again.
Come on, Silver. Let's go, big fellow. I'm Silver. Hoy!
The first intimation of an outlaw plan to take over Frontier Town came when Judge Knott, owner of the Ranchers National Bank, was shot from ambush. He lost consciousness after wounding the escaping gunman and was found by the Lone Ranger and Tonto. Tonto went for help, but learned that Doc Drummond had left Frontier Town and had not returned. Leaving Tonto to care for the judge, the Lone Ranger and Sheriff Taylor followed the ambushers' trail to a camp in the Enchanted Hills. Doc Drummond had been held captive after treating the wounded ambusher, Jake Dundee. The sheriff captured Dundee and 3 of his henchmen. Then the Lone Ranger went to a nearby gully to get the outlaw's horses. Much to the surprise of the sheriff and the doctor, Dundee grinned.
Well, I don't see what you've got to grin about, Dundee.
You will.
As soon as the masked man brings horses, you and these 3 crooks are going to jail.
We'll see about that, Sheriff.
Dundee had plans to take over Frontier Town.
Doc, Jim Keeler is one of the Dundee gang.
The gent working in the bank?
Yeah. Dundee shot Judge Knott so as Keeler could have things his own way.
Well, I can hear horses.
Sure you do. But they're my men.
Your men are hogtied right here.
3 of them are, Sheriff. Rest were deeper in the hills. You hear them coming?
What? Dundee,
You can't get me, Sheriff. My plans are too well made.
You ornery polecat ought to shoot you while I got the chance.
Why don't you do it? You've got a gun. Go on, shoot. If you've got the nerve. You see? Your hands are tied. You're used to letting the courts mete out justice. You can't shoot me.
You dead ratted fool.
You thought you had us, but you haven't. The rest of my men are coming from the hills. I hear them. They're coming here to get all of you, including that masked man.
Sheriff, he's leaving us.
There goes your friend.
We'll make a stand without him.
We haven't a chance.
That's the masked man you counted on.
Doc, we'll fight as long as we can.
Well, that won't be long. Boys!
Come fast, the law's here.
I'll show you.
3 of Dundee's men were tied, But despite this, they threw themselves on the sheriff and Doc Drummond.
That's it, boys.
This'll stop you. Get away. Get off of me.
Before the sheriff could get his gun clear, the rest of the gang closed in.
Grab those two. Get the guns.
Get ropes on those two.
We got him, Dundee.
Looks like we came just in time.
Let me go and I'll show you. Just give me a chance to fight. I'm not scared of any odds.
Shut that lawman up.
You try and shut me up.
Sheriff!
That'll hold him.
Shut up, Doc. You'll get the same as the sheriff. You boys get Slade and the others untied.
I'll take care of him, Dundee.
What happened here?
Judge not winged me after I shot him. Slade went to town and got the doc for me.
You hurt bad?
No, just winged. I lost a lot of blood.
Where'd the sheriff come from?
He and a masked man trailed me here.
A masked man?
Yeah. He went for the horses when you boys rode in.
We saw a white horse traveling fast away from the gully. It was heading south.
It was the masked man, Carter. He knows too much. You've got to get him dead or alive.
We got the doc and the sheriff hogtied, Dundee.
All right, Slade. Now, you and Carter and the others go get that masked man.
All of us?
Every one of you. I can guard the prisoners.
Dundee, you're wounded.
Not so bad I can't handle a gun. Do as I say. All of you spread out and find that masked man.
All right, Dundee. All right, let's go.
The gang had been gone for 15 minutes when Sheriff Taylor regained consciousness and learned that he and Doc Drummond were tightly tied and closely watched by Jake Dundee.
Now, don't try to get out of the rope, Sheriff, because if you do, I'll shoot.
Dundee, you won't get away with this. You'll be caught. When you go back to prison, you'll hang.
Me? Don't make me laugh.
Nothing to laugh at.
What the...
It's the masked man.
I'll take that gun. You? Now you're not so big.
Great day, mister. Where did you come from?
I haven't been away. I sent my horse without a rider. Hold your hands out, Sheriff. I'll cut that rope, and you can free the doctor.
Well, this beats all. The whole gang is chasing you, and you're right here in Dundee's camp.
There, that does it, Sheriff.
Oh, thanks. Give me the knife, and I'll do the rest. You watch Dundee.
Dundee, hanging is too good for anyone who'd murder a man like Judge Knott.
What? You mean Judge Knott is dead?
Dundee shot to kill.
Judge Knott dead. Well, that's mighty bad news. I'm downright sorry.
I'll have to rope you, Dundee. We can't take you with us.
Aren't you taking a chance?
Why can't we? Doc has his wagon.
Doc and I'll ride in the wagon, Sheriff. You have your horse.
Yes, but
When the others give up trying to catch my horse, they'll return. If we have help, we can catch them all.
But Frontier Town's a long ways to go for help.
We can get help nearer than that. There. That'll hold you, Dundee. All right. You two ready to travel?
Yes, indeed we are.
The sooner we get started, the better.
The Lone Ranger guided Doc Drummond's team to a safe distance from Dundee's camp, then reined up.
Oh, hold on. Easy. Steady there.
Why are you stopping here?
Doc, you and the sheriff must hear my plan.
All right. What is it?
A number of men in Frontier Town are working with Dundee. They'll move when he gives a word. Before he could give that word, he had to kill Judge Knott.
Well, now that the judge is dead...
Dundee thinks the judge is dead. Actually, he's alive.
He is?
Now, Dundee may show his hand. Especially if he thinks we're dead.
What'll make him think that?
You'll find out when we ask Flying Arrow and his Indians to help us. All right, get up there.
Get up.
Come on.
Dundee lay tied for over an hour. Too weak to move from the camp, he could do nothing but wait and hope his men would return before the masked man. It was a great relief to see Carter, Slade, and the others ride in and dismount.
Carter, Slade, all of you, come here quick. Coming, boss. Get these ropes off me.
Boss, what happened? We didn't find that masked man.
Of course you didn't. He didn't leave with his horse.
What?
He stayed back. Right after you boys left, he came here and released our prisoners.
Doc, Sheriff?
Yes, then he roped me.
We've got to get them back. They know too much.
They're coming back with men enough to take us. We've got to move fast. Slade, you and a few of the boys move me to the hideout in the hills.
Right.
Carter, you take the rest of the boys and try to find that masked man and the others.
I savvy.
Then set out toward Frontier Town.
We'll head that way.
We've got to find them.
Hey, boss. I hear Indians. Sounds like they're on the warpath.
I don't give a hang about the Indians. I want the doc, the sheriff, and the masked man. We can't take over the town until those three are dead.
Aided by Slade and a few of the other men, Dundee reached his hideout deep in the Enchanted Hills and slept until daybreak. He was wakened by Slade.
Hey, boss, wake up, boss. Wake up, boss.
Hey, what's the idea?
Wake up, Dundee. Wake up and hear the news. Carter and the rest came here a few minutes ago.
Carter. Did they find the masked man? What about the sheriff?
Boss, we got nothing to worry about.
No? How's that? Speak up, Slade.
Well, remember when we heard the Indians on the warpath?
Yeah?
Well, they captured the doctor, the sheriff, and the masked man.
Slade, are you sure?
Oh, wait. Hey, Carter. Yeah? Come here and tell the boss what you told me.
Good news for you, Dundee.
What about those three you went out to find?
Well, we found the burned remains of Doc Drummond's wagon on the Overland Trail, between here and Whistling Springs Geyser.
What about the men?
We followed the trail till we reached a hill that overlooked the Indian village. We saw the three we were looking for. They were stretched out stiffer than ramrods, flat on their backs next to the council fire.
Dead?
Sure thing. The Redskins were dividing the stuff from Doc Drummond's medicine kit and the rest of the things they'd taken.
Boss, with those three and Judge not dead, we're in the clear. We're all set to take over Frontier Town.
That's right, Slade. We're all set.
It was late afternoon when the Lone Ranger, disguised as a nondescript half-breed, reined up at the side of Judge Knott's house, dismounted and rapped on the door. The door was opened by Henrietta, the judge's wife.
Buenos dias, senora.
Oh, what do you want?
Well, you wonder perhaps why the judge has not returned, huh?
Oh, of course I do. He was to return yesterday. What do you know about him?
It is better I talk inside, no?
Oh, no, you can't come in.
A moment, please. The last time you saw me, I wore a mask.
Mask?
Yes. It was when we were trying to help Joe Jolly out of his trouble.
Oh, I remember a masked man. Well, there is something familiar about your voice, but...
At
well,
the
you
present
don't-
time, this disguise is safer than a mask would be. Perhaps I can identify myself by this here.
Bullet.
It's made of silver.
Yes, I see that it is. Why, you're the Lone Ranger. Oh, please come in.
Thank you.
What do you know about my husband? Where is he?
He's in good hands and getting the best of care. You see, he was wounded.
Wounded?
Yes, a man named Dundee shot him from ambush.
Oh,
Now listen carefully, Mrs. Knott. Dundee has a gang. He plans to take over control of Frontier Town.
but how can anyone do that?
It's an elaborate plan. Do you know Jim Keeler?
Yes, he works in my husband's bank.
Well, he's one of the gang. There are others working right here in town.
Oh, I can't believe that.
Judge Knott discharged Jim Keeler before he left on his trip.
But Keeler is working in the bank right now.
He is because he doesn't expect the judge to return. Mrs. Knott, we have a plan to expose those crooks, but it will never work unless you help. You'll need courage. Lots of courage.
Just tell me how I can help, and count on me.
Good. Mrs. Knott, in a little while, an Indian will come into town leading your husband's horse. He will give the impression that he found the judge dead and buried him.
Oh, but he's not really dead.
No, but you must act as if he were.
Oh.
More than that, you must tell the wife of Sheriff Taylor and the wife of Dr. Drummond that they're to act as if their own husbands were dead.
Oh, where are the sheriff and the doctor?
They're alive and well. That's all I can tell you.
Oh, I see.
Tell their wives to be brave. No matter what they see or hear, they're to take no action.
I'll tell them.
Good. I'll depend on you.
The curtain falls on the first act of our Lone Ranger story. Before the next exciting scenes, please permit us to pause for just a few moments. Now to continue our story. It was later the same day when Tonto rode into Frontier Town leading a riderless horse. He moved slowly past the wood chopper's house, Slim's saddle shop, and the Bright Lights Cafe, where a group of men were gathered on the porch.
Easy, Scout.
He could hear the comments.
Easy.
Hey, that's Judge Knott's horse, sure enough. There's the judge's saddlebags with his name on it. Look at the empty saddle. Boots hanging from the saddle. Empty boots, empty saddle. See what's happened to the judge.
Tonto turned to the right of the courthouse square, passing between the town meeting house and the Powderhorn County Courthouse. He passed the sheriff's office, then turned left to Judge Knott's house, where Henrietta waited, watching from the veranda.
Oh, Scout. Oh, fella. Oh, fella.
Sakes alive.
Now, me bring horse and saddlebag.
That's my husband's horse. Where's the judge? Not.
You hear from friend?
Yes, Tonto, your masked friend was here in disguise. I've been expecting you.
Judge say you not worry. Him come home soon.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh, look. Nearly everyone in town is coming here.
And the fella see horse.
There's Jim Keeler.
You know what to say.
Yes, I know.
Me go now. Get him up, Scout.
Mrs. Knott, that's the judge's horse. What happened?
Yeah, where's the judge? Who's that Indian?
Oh, it's terrible. Terrible. I can't talk about it.
Is the judge dead? What happened to him?
Please don't ask me questions. I don't know what I'll do. It'd be bad enough if he were brought in dead, but to think of him buried by an Indian out on the plains, not even a stone to mark his grave.
The townspeople gathered around the judge's wife, asking questions and offering help and sympathy. In the meantime, Carter had entered Frontier Town. He stood next to Jim Keeler, who worked in the bank. The two were slightly apart from those who surrounded Henrietta Knott.
Now, Keeler, get this straight. You've got until tomorrow morning to let the people know you can foreclose the mortgages.
Carter, that doesn't give me much time.
I said tomorrow morning. Dundee wants to act right away. And by the way, he has you slated to be the new sheriff.
New sheriff? What about Two-Gun Taylor?
Slade will come here tomorrow morning with some news that'll call for a new sheriff.
I savvy.
Now that the judge is gone, who'll run the bank?
There's your chance. Tell him who'll run the bank.
I got cash in the bank. I want to know what happened.
Boys, I can answer that. Don't worry about your money in the bank. I'll take over the reins at the Ranchers National Bank and carry on in the best traditions of the banking business. Furthermore, in my capacity as our beloved judge's chief assistant, I deem it my duty to assist Mrs. Knott in any way possible. Now, all of you clear out. Go on about your business.
Mrs. Knott, I'll take the judge's horse to the livery stable for you.
Mrs. Knott, I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, Mr. Keeler, I don't know where to turn or what to do. This is shocking news.
I'm sure it is. I want you to know that you're to count on me for any help I can give you. I'll handle all of the business matters.
Oh, I'll appreciate that, Mr. Keeler.
Just leave everything to me. I'll conduct the bank affairs to the best of my ability.
That evening, Jim Keeler started out with a list of everyone who had a mortgage with the bank. He went first to the home of Spike Williams, who made a scanty living selling wood.
Now, hold on, Mr. Keeler. Mrs. Knott has something to say about running the bank.
She has nothing to say. My contract gives me the authority to do as I think best in the interest of the bank.
But you can't foreclose my mortgage. It's been standing for 7 years.
It should have been foreclosed long ago.
But the judge said he'd let it ride as long as I kept the interest paid up.
The judge is dead. From now on, people who owe money to the bank will have to pay.
But I can't pay.
That's up to you, Williams. If you can't pay, I'll have to foreclose the mortgage and sell your place for whatever it'll bring.
Well, I won't have no place to live.
I'm sorry. If you can't afford to live in Frontier Town, you'll have to move. That's the final word.
But wait. Listen, Mr.
I can't waste
Keeler.
any more time. I have other people to see.
From Spike Williams' home, Keeler went next door to call on Slim Peabody, who owned the saddle shop.
I'm sorry, Peabody, but business is business. We can't operate the bank successfully unless we insist on the payment of mortgages that are past due.
He called on Lucky Brewster, owner of the Grub Steak Outfitting Store.
Well, I could pay you if I could collect all that's owed me. Dad Raddick Keeley, I keep myself broke, giving credit to people here in Frontier Town.
That's your worry, Brewster.
Dad Raddick, Judge Knott said I didn't have to worry about the mortgage.
I'm running the bank now. Unless the mortgages are paid, I'll foreclose.
It was a long list that Keeler took with him when he called on those who had been backed by the Ranchers National Bank. The list included Milo Phillips, owner of the Southwest Bugle.
It's past due, Phillips, and you've got to pay.
Cactus John, who ran the blacksmith shop, and Barney Harper, owner of the livery stable.
I'll give you 48 hours to raise the money. No longer.
Ma Henry, owner of the Sunset Hotel, was shocked beyond measure, and when Wash Perkins saw that he could lose his grist mill, he was beside himself with anger.
Of all the concern, money-grabbing polecats...
Never mind the
you're
names. Just get the cash.
Get the cash, he says. Where in Tucket can I get cash of that kind? It's the meanest goddamn deal I ever heard.
And there was Ben Holliday, who owned the gunsmith shop, and Tom Tyler, the locksmith, and the Bascoms at the Range Riders Inn, and old Sam and many others. A lot of people spent a sleepless night after Keeler had finished his calls. Crowds gathered in the courthouse square the following morning to discuss the turn of events.
I'll be broke.
Me, too. I'll have to leave Frontier Town.
It's not right, dadgummit. Why does a man like Judge Knott have to get killed while termites like Keeler stay on a little?
If he'd give me a little more time, I'd pay every cent I owe. But I don't have that kind of cash on hand. Neither do I. None of us have. Judge Knott told me not to worry.
I told me the same thing.
Jim Keeler stood inside the bank looking at the crowd while Carter sat at a table making a list of names.
I'm sure an unpopular man around town right now. Look at them, Carter. They're all talking about me.
Never mind that. Before night, you'll be one of the biggest men in town.
If nothing goes wrong.
It won't. Slade is on the way here now with news about the sheriff. That's when you go out and talk to the people. Yeah, and here's a list of names.
Let's see it.
When you get to be sheriff, you're going to make each of these men a special deputy.
Here's a fellow working in the newspaper office. Clerk over at the courthouse, the caretaker at the meeting house, a barkeep in the Bright Lights Cafe. And none of these men got themselves in pretty good spots, didn't they?
Yeah, spots where they'll be mighty handy after we take things over.
Hey, look over there.
Well, that's Slade. He's riding in with news. You better step outside, Keeler, and be ready to make your announcement.
Right.
Oh! Hey, boys, all of you, listen to me. I got news, bad news. About the sheriff, two-gun taker.
What about him? Where is he? We haven't seen him for a couple of days.
Deals with Doc Drummond as well as the sheriff. They're both dead.
What
Quiet now, boys.
Doc?
Let me tell you. Came here the other day to get Doc Drummond to help a friend of mine who'd been hurt. Later on, the sheriff left town to find Doc Drummond. He did find him, with me. And then Indians.
Indians?
Slade's doing a pretty good job. He sure is.
I got away because I had the fastest horse. The sheriff and Doc Drummond weren't so lucky.
Sheriff gone? Poor old two-gun. And Doc Drummond, too. Oh, that's terrible news. We've got no sheriff.
Listen to me, boys. Quiet down. Gents, the news of our sheriff's death is a blow to all of us. But we must take immediate steps so Frontier Town is not without a custodian of law and order. We must elect a new sheriff without delay.
Well, how about you, Mr. Keeler? You be the new sheriff.
Who's talking?
I am.
Why, you only been in town a few months. What do you got to say?
One moment. I appreciate the confidence a few of you have in me. I can understand the opposition of the rest of you. You're angry because I considered it my duty to protect the best interests of the bank by insisting on payment of past due mortgages. Now, wait a minute, gentlemen, wait a minute. Many things may be changed by Sheriff Taylor's sudden death. Though it never occurred to me to accept the post of sheriff, I might say that if I had that authority, I'd be able to safeguard the bank without resorting to foreclosure.
You mean to say if we make you sheriff, you won't foreclose on mortgages?
If I had the authority that goes with the sheriff's office, I'd be able to continue Judge Knott's policy of running the bank. Now, I suggest a town meeting and an immediate election to fill the post of sheriff.
Mr. Keeler.
Yes, Mrs. Knott. I didn't see you in the group.
I'm sure if you were sheriff, you'd appoint new deputies. I think we have a right to know who those men would be.
I have certain men in mind. Because of my position in the bank, I'm familiar with the background of these men.
Well, who are they?
Bart Dexter, who's been working in the newspaper office. Hartford, a clerk. Brooksville, Roxbury. Westbrook, Branford, Oakdale. Wyndham and Baker. All reputable men.
Boys, all of you.
It's the sheriff. He's back.
Say, where'd he come from?
You bet I'm back. I've been standing in back at the door of the meeting house for the past hour.
What?
And Doc Drummond's been with me.
What's that? Doc Drummond. See, there he is. I see.
Gents, there's been a big plot to take over Frontier Town. That critter Slade is in on it. So's that man. His name is Carter.
No.
Go for a gun and I'll blow your arm off. Now, Keeler's a crook. And every one of the men he's named is a crook. They're all under arrest.
You'll be sorry for that, Sheriff. Even though I can't have your job, I'll make you eat those words. I'll break this town.
Oh, no, you won't, Jim Keeler.
I'll foreclose every mortgage.
You'll do no such thing.
Don't forget I have a contract.
You violated that contract before my husband left town. You were discharged. You're not working for the bank.
Who says so?
My husband.
What, huh?
Why, he's no more dead than Sheriff Taylor or Dr.
Oh,
Drummond.
what's that?
And if you want to see him, look up there in the window of the courthouse. He's wounded, but he's getting well.
Boys, there's going to be no foreclosed mortgages while Judge Knott's alive. And he is alive.
Well, he won't be. Oh, Slade, get your gun.
Don't try it. There'll be more broken arms.
The masked man, look there on the white horse.
Some honest deputies are in the courthouse and the meeting house. They have guns and they're prepared to shoot if anyone makes trouble.
Now, boys, we've got some critters to jail. You heard the names. Every one of them come into town and got a job preparing to help crooks take over Frontier Town. We'll march them to jail. Keeler along with them. Then I'll tell you all how Frontier Town was saved. Saved when that masked man suggested that me and Doc Drummond and Judge Knott play possum. And wait till you hear how we were helped by Flying Arrow and his Injuns. Yes, sirree, boys. Those Indians are on the side of the Lone Ranger.
The Lone Ranger won a substantial victory in Frontier Town by exposing crooks who posed as citizens. But Dundee won't give up easily. The town is still in peril, so be sure to tune in the next thrilling episode when the Lone Ranger rides again. The story you have just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated.
You've been listening to the OTR Gold Network. Find more classic radio at otrgold.com.